Daddy's got his hand out.
Grab my hand, Jack. There you go, bud. Need help, Mama?
Miles north of Mammoth, Arizona, on Highway 77 you will come to a road called East Aravaipa Road. You will want to turn on this road. Before we go any further, we will make a quick stop and discover some hidden history of the area. On the left side of the road, there is an historical marker. This marker is hidden from the main highway. This marker tells us about Old Fort Grant, formerly Fort Breckenridge. Fort Breckenridge, also called Old Camp Grant, in Arizona, was the second military post to be established after the Gadsden Purchase. Troops from the 1st Fort Buchanan built it in May 1860 at the San Pedro River's confluence in Aravaipa Creek. Its purpose was to protect area settlers and immigrants against hostile Indians and was first called Fort Aravaipa. Still, it was soon changed to Fort Breckenridge, in honor of Vice President John C. Breckinridge. In February 1861, Fort Breckenridge troops reinforced Fort Buchanan troops during the Bascom Affairs hostilities at Fort Bowie. In July 1861, after the Civil War outbreak, the area faced a Confederate invasion from Texas. The Army abandoned and burned Fort Breckenridge and other southern Arizona posts to keep them from Confederate hands. In May 1862, the California Volunteers rebuilt the fort and renamed it Camp Stanford for Governor Leland Stanford of California. However, a few months later, it was renamed back to Fort Breckenridge in October. Federal forces again destroyed the post in July 1865 to keep supplies out of Confederate hands. With the Civil War over and Indian attacks increasing, the fort was again rebuilt in November 1865 by the 2nd California Infantry. This time, it was named Fort Grant in honor of Union hero General Ulysses S. Grant. Regular troops replaced the California Volunteers in March 1866. This is a picture of Old Fort Grant. Later that year, the post was destroyed again by flooding. The troops then moved to an upper terrace on the San Pedro River's east bank, and the fort was redesignated as a camp rather than a fort. The troops were kept busy fighting hostile Apache, who were prone to making raids on area settlers. In early 1871, when Pinal and Aravaipa Apache requested sanctuary near the fort, they were allowed to hunt and farm the area and start a camp nearby. Unfortunately, other Apache bands continued to raid the territory during this time, and though unfounded, many settlers blamed those bands living near Camp Grant. On April 30, 1871, a mob of angry citizens from Tucson and their Papago Indian mercenaries clubbed, shot, and mutilated 144 Aravaipa Apache people, primarily women and children, near Camp Grant. Known as the Camp Grant Massacre, their actions were taken in retaliation for a Gila Apache raid in which 6 people had been killed and some livestock stolen. A temporary Indian reservation was then established near Camp Grant, but in 1872, it was moved to San Carlos. Afterward, a new Fort Grant was established at Mount Graham's base, which was more strategically located to fight the still hostile Apache. Old Camp Grant was abandoned in March 1873. Hundreds of years ago, this canyon belonged to the Aravaipa Apache. The Aravaipa people are an Apache band whose home was in the canyon of Aravaipa Creek, a tributary of the San Pedro River in southern Arizona. The Apache originally lived by a combination of seasonal farming, hunting, and gathering nuts, berries, leafy greens, and medicinal herbs. My dad said he did not have to use a four-wheel drive, but a higher clearance car is recommended. We are almost up to the top. You will need a special permit and reservation to hike this area. But, they do not cost much. They only allow 30 people per day on the west side and 20 people per day on the east side. I will put a link in the description on how to get one. Welcome to the start of the Aravaipa Canyon Wilderness. They have an information sign that has a map and information about the dangers. They also had a sign to beware that bears have been spotted, and to be aggressive towards the bears if you encounter one. I'm not worried about that. My dad can be very aggressive if he has to be. On the other side they have information on all the wildlife and plants in the area. I thought it was very interesting. My mom told me about the snakes, frogs, butterflies, and even the cotamindi. We saw some of them last week with their babies. The climb down to the creek is a bit rough and steep, but I can handle it. Be careful of the cacti on each side of the trail. It was a little rocky here. This was our first time crossing the creek. It won't be the last. This is when we discovered that there is not really a trail here. This is wilderness, and the creek is the trail. This is really rocky. Did I say rocky? I mean, really rocky.
That's good. Keep walking.
We made it in about 3 miles and decided to take a break before turning back. We spent about an hour here. It was beautiful here. But I have to say, it would be a lot nicer if Mom did not forget to pack the energy bars. Well, it is time to head back. It is time to go home. We have a storm coming. Thank you for watching my video. If you can, donate to my taco fund. This will help me get the stuff to make better videos. Good night everybody!